This is the Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live from the KVNT studios, 7 to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday.
For those of you fans of the Tom Anderson Show, you know that I just purchased a drum set, a Thomas set from Guitar Center, which is a national chain in the U.S. here, and they have a giant store in Alaska, in the big city of Anchorage. We've been having fun in our garage band, The Family, playing, and I looked up online drum lessons, drum support, drum help, drum advice, and the numero uno source online globally, I'm not kidding, is Drumeo. And I watched it and became smitten with Jared Falk and his team and his drummers and his professionals. And I said, I got to not only sign up and encourage people on my show to sign up, no affiliation, I'm just very supportive. We'll get into when he started this, his background. I encourage you to check it out on YouTube. We'll find out how you can do that, but I want to give you a glimpse of it. One of his videos playing the same song 9 years later, and this could be, we'll talk about some of his other platforms he's going to launch. You could do this with a guitar, with a harmonica. In his case, he's a percussionist, he's a drummer, and he talks about that. Here's just a minute clip, then we'll talk to Jared live.
Hey everyone, it's Jared, and I've been seeing these videos on YouTube where drummers are reacting to their progress over the course of 10 and 20 years. Now, I've been putting content online for 17 years. I put up my first YouTube video in 2006. And in 2009, I created a package called Successful Drumming. And it was a very different time back then. This was before Drumeo was even created. The Drumeo brand wasn't even around at this time. So I created this package, which was called Successful Drumming, meant to give drummers a great foundation of theory and technique. And I really wanted to focus on some of the musical applications of this. So we went into the studio, we spent a week or two creating a bunch of play-alongs. And this one song I created was called Challenge Accepted. And it was a really kind of harder tune with some weird shots and some weird parts, and it was meant to sound like it was supposed to be in a video game. And it was definitely a song that was supposed to challenge me. And I remember back then just spending so long on making sure it was perfect, because we were renting a studio. It was like thousands of dollars every day. I had to hire a film crew, and I just remember adding up the hourly cost of what I was paying for this and just being like blown away, wondering how am I going to pay for all this. So I'm excited to check it out now, and I can tell you a little bit more about that whole process, and then I'm going to actually play that again in our studio here at Drumeo with all these amazing video editors and this amazing new equipment, and we can see which one do you like better.
And there you go. And he gets into everything. Jared Falk joins us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. I have a minor in Canada studies, so I love Canada. And, man, since 15, you've been drumming. You're still a young man, early 30s, I recall. I think you're just over 30.
Late 30. This is my last year, and then I'm turning 40 in December.
You see, I was thinking you were early. I was like, when did he start? He must have been an embryo. And by the way, you must drink from the fountain of youth because you still look like you're in your 20s. You launched Drumeo 2012. And can you believe you're at 2 million, almost 2 million subscribers?
Yeah, on our YouTube channel. Yeah, we're like maybe 50,000 or 40,000 away from 2 million.
Oh my gosh! And talking about YouTube, 370 million views with Drumeo itself. And, we can get into your quick bio about drumming, but I really want to also talk about your segue. You've got YouTube, and we've interviewed here on the show a lot of YouTube celebrities like yourself, but Drumeo is really your passion, your platform. When I looked at you on YouTube, I was like, oh, wow, cool, free. I can go through. But money is not a big deal when it comes to Drumeo. It's not that expensive. I don't know how you can make a living from how low you charge. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be $100 a month or $200 a month, and it's like, low, mid 200s for the year just to sign up for the basic. But what made you decide to have Drumeo and do the YouTube?
Well, the reason we do YouTube and the reason we still publish content on all the other social platforms is because we want to be where drummers are hanging out and they're chatting, and we believe that everyone should be able to learn music, and it really doesn't matter if you have money. And we don't want money to be the barrier to someone choosing drums. And so, although we love it when people become members and there's a lot of added value within the membership, you could still get really, really well fed on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and all of these other social media channels. And so, it's a way for us to just continue to connect with more drummers that are just a little bit outside of the members area. Maybe they're not ready to become full-time students yet, and that's totally cool by us.
Yeah, Drumeo is the one I recommend, though. And I recommend, folks, if you're interested in drumming, sign up for it. It's not expensive. If you have a child, young or old, or you have a grandchild or a friend, it would be a great gift as well. In conjunction, I don't even think initially you need the equipment. Jared may disagree and say, wait, you got to have the drum set. But I mean, you might want to purchase it and watch some of them in advance. I just watched when driving to the studio, one of your colleagues talked about, hey, what if you're a self-taught drummer? And he had basically 5 points about, listen and emulate, listen on your headphones and get the clicker, the metronome, and play in a band and study other genres. And I think those are such good lessons. When you put together your Drumeo videos, I mean, you really sift it down. You have cymbal placement. How do you sit? The paradiddle. Do you and your team decide on this and map it out each week? Because it's really robust. I mean, you have the paradigm that's like magic.
Well, our goal is with every lesson is to, after someone's done watching the lesson, they run to their drum set and play. And, it's a digital environment which people are, using our platform in, but we really want them to do a physical action. So it's not like Drumeo and chill. No, it's Drumeo and play drums. And that's the end goal for us. And so we've talked about it internally. It's like we don't necessarily want people on our platform all the time. We want them to go to their drum set and play their drums, because we understand that the more drummers that are playing drums, the more drummers that pick up the drum set and choose the instrument, the better for everyone in the industry. And the longer this art form will stay alive.
No, absolutely. Next segment, I know you're going to stay, and you can briefly stay for one more segment. We're going to go to a break here shortly. These come quick. But talking about your colleagues, you have some real heavy hitters internationally, nationally. How do you reach out to them? Do you just basically say, hey, will you come on board? If I may ask, do you compensate them? How do they affiliate with you? Because that really makes the Drumeo videos robust as well.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of having those larger social channels, as when you have that, it can attract other people who are also looking to get in front of an audience. And so, we got connected with Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffat, who was the touring drummer for Michael Jackson for many, many years. And his videos on our YouTube channel have probably 50 or 60 million plus views. But we got connected with him through other drummers that we knew. And so many times it just is as simple as us reaching out and asking. Many times we work with the industry and work with different companies like Tama. I heard you mention you got a Tama kit or Roland or Yamaha. We're close with all of those companies, and we all work together to try and promote drumming.
Absolutely. I've also noticed in some of the Drumeo lessons, you've gone to YouTube star, somebody that's a standout, and that's one of the things that in your self-taught video, the gentleman says, hey, he says, videotape yourself. Now we're seeing that more and more on YouTube, and I've watched at least 3 where you're like, hey, this person was on YouTube, we discovered them, or they reached out to us, and now they're giving a lesson on what they do. Maybe pop music example, the gal, I think, from France. Do you reach out to them directly, or do they reach out to you to get on your Drumeo?
It's a little bit of both. And there's all different types of drummers, and so the modern drummer these days is generally starting on social media. And that's how a lot of drummers are actually getting gigs now. Is they'll put videos online, a band will kind of be looking for a drummer and discover them, and that's how it works. Matt McGuire is on our platform, and he plays with the Chainsmokers. I don't know if you've heard of that band.
I have.
But he got that gig by putting videos online. And so we recognize this, that it's not all about, the old school pros who laid the bricks and paved the way for us, and we're eternally grateful to. But there's also this new modern musician that we have to connect with and we have to promote because they're doing incredible things as well.
Absolutely. His name is Jared Falk. Folks, if you have an interest in music, particularly drumming, he's going to tell you next segment about some other platforms he's going to launch. I'm a fan hugely of Drumeo. It is probably, and remember everybody, I have an ad agency during the day. I'm a PR guy. I'm a marketing guy. And I haven't seen a more crisp, aesthetically pleasing, in terms of the segments. They're not long-winded. They're very concise. It looks nice. Obviously the audio, it's perfection. I mean, you really have made this a remarkable site and bastion for people that like drumming or want to get into drumming. We're going to come back and talk to him about some other platforms he's launching, how he gets into sponsorships, and we'll talk about why you should get into drumming. It's fun stuff. Stay with us. Tom Anderson Show. Jared Falk, Drumeo. 15 years old, he starts drumming. And I want to go down memory lane. Jared, here in Alaska, I have friends who fly small planes, and I have a bunch of them, and they love the passion of aviation and flying. I have a couple that loved it so much they also really wanted to teach. And I look at you, I mean, are you inherently an educator or someone that clearly gets personal reward from teaching? Because you're not just out professionally doing it and doing it for intrinsic reasons. You also like to share your knowledge. And I think that's rare.
Yeah, I started drumming at 15, like you said. And at 16, I got my first drum student. And so I've been teaching almost as long as I've been playing drums. And that just comes from me being passionate about the instrument, about music, and when people ask questions, I want to share. And that's actually very common among drummers specifically. Not necessarily the same when it comes to the other instruments, but drummers, because of the commitment level that we make, we buy a big drum set, we put it in a room dedicated to itself in many cases, we buy cars just to haul around our drums. And so we're so passionate about this, and we've made such a huge commitment that we're just excited to share the knowledge with anyone.
Absolutely. What about endorsements? And I've noticed you endorse like cymbals, drum heads. There are various ones. Do you go to the highest bidder? Do you have an affinity for something, maybe experience playing and reach out to them? I've always wondered. You're a celebrity now. I know you're humble, but you are certainly in the drum world. How does that connect?
Well, every endorsement deal is a little bit different, and generally drummers will get endorsements because they need support when they're on the road touring. And so if they're going to be in this, if I was coming to Anchorage, Alaska, I could contact Peisty, and I could contact my friends at Yamaha, my friends at Evans Drumheads, and when I got there would be all the equipment that I needed, and I wouldn't have to take any of it on the plane. And so that's where having partners is really good, because drums are big. They don't necessarily fit in the overhead compartment on an airplane. And so it's more of a partnership, and in many cases, money does not change hands, but occasionally there can be money changing hands and things like that. In my case, I choose the products that I love the most, and I choose the companies that have the best people there, because I love working with good people.
Your humility really stands out, because so often in the video you say, hey, if you want to go to a personal trainer in drumming, an instructor, do so. If you want to do it with us, do so. You really breathe, eat, sleep drumming, and it's not all about Drumeo, is it?
No, it's not. It's more about growing the drum community and promoting drummers. Drummers to us are oxygen. I have no business if there's no drummers. I have no one to teach if there's no drummers. And so for me, it's not about come to our website and I need to, I'm not fighting over students with anyone. I'm really just trying to promote the act of drumming and get people on their kits.
Now, here's the big news, Guitareo and Singeo. Hey, by the way, my son said he needs a Jared, the life and times of a Titan. Or how about a Falkio? That's a cop from the east side, turns detective and drummer. No, but you've got Guitareo and you've got Singeo. Tell us about those real quick.
Yeah, we have Guitareo, Singeo, and piano, actually, if you want to learn piano. It didn't work with the EO because there's too many vowels in that one. But the end goal here is to get people connected to other musicians so they can actually communicate on their instruments. Drummers, we spend a lot of time in a room by ourselves in solitude, just practicing and playing, but the end goal is always music. So we really started focusing on other instruments and building out our platform technology. We built a lot just to support Drumeo. You mentioned it earlier. And we wanted to, help guitarists. We wanted to help, pianists and people. We wanted to help people sing. And eventually we're going to do the bass guitar as well, with the end goal being we're hoping to create the next big rock band. That's my big vision. Is I would love it if a drummer and a guitar player and a piano player all using our platform got to the point where they started a band and then started putting out music and then maybe we became super famous. I just think that would be incredible.
Absolutely. My son Grayson, who's 15, is a fan as well and was really excited to hear I'd be interviewing you. And he said, ask about a bass platform. And I said, it's not going to happen, son, because he's got Guitareo. Well, I was wrong, but Dad puts his foot in his mouth. Okay. When we look at Canadian drummers and musicians with all of the platforms and the U.S., I mean, you're partnering with both and European, right? I mean, you're doing this global in terms of your continuity and connections.
Yes, we're in over 100 countries now. Unfortunately, we are not in different languages yet, but many people speak English all around the world. But one of the plans is to internationalize and to start putting out content in different languages and build platforms for Spanish and all these different languages so everyone can learn. And
you guys have a huge, you're in Vancouver, Canada, correct?
Yeah, we're like an hour east of Vancouver in a little town called Abbotsford.
Okay, yep. And I read that in your bio. You're from there. And I mean, how many staff do you have at Drumeo? Is this a huge army of employees, or do you have a small, tight-knit group?
Well, we used to have a small, tight-knit group, but it's grown a lot over the recent years. And so now we're almost at 80 people working with our team full-time, and that's developers, that's production people, that is marketing, that's finance, that's executive. And so it's really grown to something where I just couldn't have ever dreamed it would be like this, but it's really, really fun.
Well, Jared Falk, it's been a pleasure. You were very kind to indulge me and our listeners and talk about Drumeo Guitareo. Folks, you heard it. Piano, singing. He's got bass coming. Like you said, it's a full band. I encourage you to check out the YouTube channels. I encourage you as a gift, especially when school's coming back. I was going to ask him about school. I know there's a connection there as well for all the students. I encourage you to sign up for Drumeo and practice. And you're such an inspiration, Jared. Keep up the good work, okay? Bless you and your team, and I'm very proud of you. And you really, I think you bring a glow to life. We report on so much negativity. You really make it happy. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Jared Falk, Drumeo. I recommend it, my friends. Charlie Kirk is next up. Folks, enjoy your day, okay? You're going to have a good one. Happy Tuesday. God bless.
This has been the Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live on KVNT 1020 AM and 92.5 FM, Alaska's conservative talk. Listen to Tom Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Online at TomAndersonShow.com. Enjoy your morning and keep it tuned right here on KVNT for our all-star talk show lineup.